What's up, everybody? So I have a little bit of new information to share with you all. I was talking to a friend about the situation I dealt um, with the public servants from Zanesville, Muskingum County, and they brought to my attention something that I hadn't considered before. Now, through all this process, especially early on when I was dealing with the issues with the electrical company and the health problems that I was experiencing after they had upgraded the systems. And it reminded me of at the time, it reminded me of a vision, if you will, that I had when I was a young boy, about basically a product that would supply power to an individual structure or home, not tied into the power grid, which is a standalone uh, power plant essentially, uh, supplying unlimited power to the individual structure, whether it's a home or a garage or commercial structure, what have you. Instead of having everything tied together and integrated in a grid, I had the vision of creating essentially independent individual power plants. And at the time, I had no knowledge of electrical uh, engineering or details about how electricity works or the components or any of that. And so over the years, I began to educate myself, learn, train myself on different aspects of electrical circuits and equipment. And fast forward to uh, 2018 when I started to experience the health problems that I did and began the short battle with the electric company that I was completely derailed in, I guess, for lack of better terms. Um, it reminded me of that vision. And so I reawoken that vision and uh, had started to build prototypes in a manner to, at first provide myself with enough unlimited energy to uh, make my property self-sustaining. And then once I developed um, a solid product that was usable and um, what's the word, efficient and reliable, that I could then bring it to market and market it for other property owners and homeowners and so forth, people to use to their advantage, to have unlimited power supply with little to no cost. As a comparison and direct competition with the public utility companies, and specifically in that area, it would be Ohio Power or American Electric Power, one of their subsidiaries. So, in talking to the friend, we were talking about Donald Mason and the fact that he has extensive background in uh, energy boards and other things related to public utilities. And then on top of that, there was some information. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't confirmed it yet. Um, but there is some information that possibly Ohio Power had their headquarters in Zanesville at one point, or they were established there originally. And I guess there's a landmarker in the city that signifies this. Anyways, make a long story short, in talking to my friend, he brought up the point that, well, maybe you were attacked not just because of your complaints. Maybe your complaints were used as an excuse to attack you. But the main reason that you were attacked was not because of your complaints, but because of your direct competition with the public utility companies. And based on the way that Donald Mason acted, where he essentially led me to believe that I was doing the right thing by complaining to the city, the police department, and so forth about the noise, because of the fact that, according to Ohio Revised Code, it is their responsibility to address the noise. So, by essentially setting me up, by leading me to believe that I was doing the right thing, which I was technically according to the law. Um, they were using this situation to manipulate it against me, to weaponize it against me, possibly to prevent me from developing the product further to become a direct competition with the public utility company, specifically the electric company, and really all electric companies across the country and maybe even the world eventually. So I started to put this into perspective that I was essentially targeted not because of me wanting peace and quiet. That's what I thought, because I put everything else on the back burner. Put this business on the back burner. I put everything else aside so I could focus solely on figuring out how to combat this ridiculous experience that I was going through at the hands of these bad faith public servant tyrants. Well, after talking to this friend, it makes a lot of sense that with Donald Mason's background in energy and in public utilities, that he may have either taken it upon himself or been employed by some other to go after me, to stop me from being able to produce a solid product that would be a direct competition to the public utility, which eventually could affect the not only the local government but the state government as well, because of the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they get subsidies from the federal government for the public utility to operate, maintain, and so forth, and not to mention the fact that the public utilities themselves get subsidies also, not only from the state but also from the federal government, and a lot of the tax revenue that's generated from this activity, I'm sure brings in quite a bit of revenue to the state and to the municipality and the county and so forth. So it would appear to me that I was attacked, not only from the perspective that they didn't want to do their jobs and address the noise, but like I said, it seems to me now that that was just an excuse, because I was being attacked for the fact that I was going to be a direct competition. I was going to be in direct competition. The product that I was developing was going to be in direct competition with the public utility companies. And so that establishes motive. Not only did Donald Mason have the motive to silence me for the business aspect and the potential competition, but also, if the city didn't handle the noise situation appropriately, then they wouldn't have to spend any kind of funds on addressing that situation in the courts like they're supposed to. Which, I mean, it's not like it's their personal accounts. It's it's tax dollars. It's the subsidy funds that come from the government. That pay for all this. So it's not like it's their own money. But that's what a lot of this money is supposed to be for. For them to supposedly protect the community. But they chose not to. Instead, they chose to destroy my life, prevent me from being a direct competition, and providing a quality product that will provide unlimited energy at zero cost, with the exception of maybe some maintenance. I'm not sure long term what the maintenance is going to be, but very, very low maintenance. And not to mention the fact that the product that I'm developing doesn't use fossil fuels. There may be some carbon footprint as far as the components that are used to create the product. Those components and wiring and so forth may be, they may have some carbon footprint. But essentially, it takes no fuel or anything to run the product. It generates its own electricity and delivers an unlimited amount of electricity over time. Of course, it's not an unlimited immediate delivery, but over time it would be equivalent to the power supply from the public utility going into the main shut-off breaker in the main panel for the home or the structure. So essentially, it would be a 200 amp service at 120 volts. Like I said, very similar. So that way, it could connect directly to the main panel, just like the drop line coming from the power lines down to the main panel off of the mast from the structure. The electricity that it delivers, it'll be comparable to that. So I also was developing, and still am, but again, this has been put on the back burner, a product using this same technology that I will be able to convert electric cars into unlimited mile automobiles, due to the fact that after using this product or having this product installed on the automobile, it would never have to be plugged in to charge again. It would charge itself at all times while not in operation. So, as you can see, there's a lot of potential for this. Not just in the residential sector, but in the automotive sector and other areas as well. There could be other areas that I'm not even aware of that this product or a version of this product could be utilized to not only provide the power needed, but at low cost and with low effect on the environment, which is what we all seem to want these days. That's what talking about all these things, whether they're true or not, global warming, climate change, whatever the situations are and whatever the reasons are for it, whether natural or unnatural. There definitely seems to be an agenda to move everything towards all electric everything, and to essentially move away from the oil and gas industry, which I don't know if it ever will. But this is an opportunity to what's the word? Maybe substitute some of these other products with a more effective and more efficient and a safer, cleaner product, like what I'm developing. So, with all that being said, I feel very strongly now, after having this conversation and having some time to think about it, that more than likely, it seems that this is the reason that I was attacked and terrorized in the manner that I was. And because of the trauma that was caused in my life and in my psyche, if you will, my spirit, due to the bad faith actions of these public servants, I wasn't able to really put the pieces together and really fully comprehend what was going on, because in the midst of the situation, going through all of that, I was just trying to survive. I was trying to protect my life and liberty, my pursuit of happiness, my property, while constantly being attacked by these people. So I want you to think about that, and I also want you to know that I'm not going to give up. They by no means have stopped me from developing this product. It may have delayed it a little bit, set me back a bit as far as the development and production, but nonetheless, I'm still moving forward. And it's just a shame that these public servants couldn't do the right thing and actually follow the law and enforce the actual law in a manner to protect the community and allow a product like this to be developed in their quote unquote jurisdiction. I mean, just think about it, the jobs that it would have created, the opportunities that it would have created, as well as the notoriety for the area. And I specifically chose that area because of the fact that I had roots there. My grandfather was originally from Zanesville. So my intention was to, at the time, go back to my roots and settle down, maybe start a family, look at starting a business, and then as things progressed and developed, like I said, once I started experiencing these things with the electric company, I then decided to switch gears and develop these products. And now looking back on it, it does make sense that more than likely this was the case, and this is why I experienced what I experienced, was to prevent me from being in direct competition. Now, whether that was to, uh, protect the pockets of, say, Donald Mason or someone else, I have no idea. But what I do know is that the actions didn't make sense, and they definitely were not in accordance with the law. And these people took it upon themselves to act in a manner unbecoming of a public servant, at least should be unbecoming of a public servant, although this has become more and more commonplace for these public servants to act like this and to forget who they are and what their purpose is. So, at this point, it's apparent to me that the money isn't worth it. I could sue these people for what they did for money. I could get it compensated out of it, but they'd probably settle out of court and force me to sign a non-disclosure agreement or something like that. So, after considering all of this, I decided to switch gears because, quite frankly, realistically, the money's worthless anyway. Sure, you can buy a few things with it, but in reality, it's worthless. If you really know what the Federal Reserve notes are, they're IOUs. It's not really, money as if it was gold or silver or something like that, or something with tangible value, intrinsic value, I should say. So I've switched gears, and so now, instead of trying to find out how to hold these people accountable financially, because I figured that would be the best way to not only make the example, but get through to these people that they did the wrong thing. I realize now that, well, one, most of these public servants are protected by their higher ups in the chain of command, if you will, or the hierarchy. And just like the police officers not being charged by the county prosecutor's office because they're not going to bite the hands that feed them, or so it seems to me. It's the same from the state and so forth, and even the federal government. Let's be honest. Let's look at the disarray of the federal government, the FBI, the DOJ, and if half of the stories that are coming out are true, then it's no wonder why I was allowed to suffer and they didn't bother to get involved when they should have. Because every one of these public servants should have been arrested and put in jail themselves and charged with various crimes that they were committing, whether it be an accessory to the crime or the perpetrator of the crime itself. So I want you to think about that. In this day and age, where we seem to be experiencing a higher than ever demand for energy, we have issues with rolling blackouts and threats on the power grid from various enemies and people that don't agree with the government or what have you. I felt like at the time that this would have been a product that would have been extremely liberating for the country, as well as provide security by not allowing a vulnerable system to be attacked. But they had different plans. And you know the rest of the story. So I want you to think about that and keep an eye out. And I'm going to continue developing these products, and when I get to a point to where I can bring them to the market, I will, and I will make that known in some way, shape, or form, depending on how the business is structured. But yeah, as it seems right now, after having these conversations and becoming aware of the big picture, I realize now that it seems that Donald Mason was either took it upon himself or was employed by some other to essentially take me out and prevent me from becoming a direct competition. Um, so essentially, possibly a pay-for-play scheme type of a situation. Uh, I mean, after all, when you consider these companies and the tax dollars that they pay to the municipality, so you got revenue coming in from these companies to the municipality, and then you got the public servants that work for the municipality that are protecting those corporations against the people that are supposed to actually be protected. So just let that sink in also. So these public servants who are supposed to be protecting the community and serving the people instead are protecting the corporations and serving themselves and their buddies. Well, that's nepotism, isn't it? Uh, so it really kind of brings it full circle and adds a little bit more evidence to the pile that validates my position and where I stand on this matter. The fact that these people acted outside the bounds of the law, acted in violation and direct contradiction to their oath of office, to the Constitution, and to the laws that bind them, in a manner to disparage me, to prevent me from fulfilling my dreams and ambitions and goals in life, to prevent me from providing a quality product made in America. Could have been made right there in Zanesville, to not only the people locally and of the county and of the state, but to the country and to the world potentially. Who knows what kind of a change that these products would have made. But we'll find out eventually, because eventually I will bring these products to market. Unfortunately, when dealing with out-of-control tyrant public servants like these from Zanesville and Muskingum County, Ohio, it makes it impossible, or nearly impossible, I should say, to develop a worthwhile business that would actually provide not only quality of life, but also happiness. Because after all, who wouldn't benefit from alleviating a utility bill, or a bill in general for that matter? I mean, after all, it seems like all we do is work, work, work just to pay the bills and very little left over. So as you see, it seems to me that the public servants from Zanesville, Ohio, Muskingum County area don't want American energy independence, or they don't want healthy competition. They don't want people to be free. They don't want people to search after their pursuit of happiness, or search out their pursuit of happiness, however you want to say it. It appears to me that they are the epitome of evil and wanting to stop good things from happening, and to allow these types of egregious crimes to go on. And for them to think that they're doing a good job by holding people accountable for their quote-unquote crimes it's just indoctrination and brainwashing. Do they do some good? Sure. Are there some criminals that deserve to be in prison? Possibly. Do they send them there? Yeah, sometimes, probably. But does that little bit of good that they do actually counteract all of the evil and the lawlessness that they perpetrate? You need to ask yourself that question.